Hello. Just took a bath. Trying to relax. Seeing what's going on. Hello, Mindy. Having a decent day today. Dare I call it a window? I don't know. Maybe a little bit better than a baseline, which is way fuck more tolerable. Um, about a month ago, I cut the back of my leg, and I got a tetanus shot. And it's been 25 years since I had a tetanus shot, and as much as I don't want to do vaccines, I felt kind of obligated, like I should do that one at least. Um, so it's been almost a month since I kind of felt decent. I'm pretty sure that kind of messed with me because really my anxiety was the worst it was ever after that. But I'm glad I got it done, and I'm glad I got through that. Um, but I've been getting a lot of pain in the back of my leg. It's in the same area. Feels like it's on the inside. It's really weird. So this morning I went to the urgent care to get it checked out, make sure. I'm super paranoid. Hey. So I went to the urgent care to check it out, make sure I wasn't having a blood clot or something. But they checked it out and they ruled that out, and just a bad strain or sprain or whatever they called it. So yeah, nothing I can do about that. Just deal with it. Take it easy, which I normally take it easy. So keep it wrapped in heat, I suppose. Stuff like that. But yeah, I'm glad I was feeling a little better. I wouldn't have went to the urgent care just because my bad days, it's just so bad that I can't go to do shit like that. But at least I'm having days where I can tolerate it, which ends up usually throwing me into a wave. So we'll see how I feel tomorrow or the next day. But I went to urgent care, and then I went and did some work I went out and worked for like an hour and a half. Then I came home and basically laid there. Hey, I basically laid there for 3 hours. uh, when I got home, I went out to the gas station and bought a lottery ticket because for some reason I feel my luck has been so absolutely terrible that I'm bound to have some good luck at some point. I'm hoping it's in the financial area. I bought a lottery ticket and came home, did a little shipping for my work, and then I took the dog out. Then nothing. Took a bath, and now I'm here. It's been kind of a long day since I started. I woke up at like 7. Got started since then. The last time I had a partial window or whatever was a month ago. And I went to urgent care then for the cut on the back of my leg. Now that I'm in a partial window again, I went back to the same urgent care and checked out the pain that was going on in my leg. So it seems like every time I have a partial anything, I have to utilize it by going and getting stupid ailments looked at. And sadly, they didn't care. There was really nothing majorly wrong. At this point, they're probably thinking I'm paranoid. But I don't care. I'd rather get it checked out than do all the research online and freak myself out. I hate I overly think things, and I've done it for years. And now instead of overthinking it, I just go get it checked out. And I don't care if they think I'm nuts. I literally just tell them I'd rather just come in, have you look at it, than me googling it. And they totally understand, and they're really nice to me. Then they like when people say they don't want to Google stuff. And he talked to me about the vaccine, COVID vaccine and stuff. I'm not going to do that. Not for a while. I'm not going to argue with it about it with anybody. It's just not my thing. I have my reasons, my health stuff, but I was going to, but I'm too down in order to get such a heavy vaccine, and I don't want to be taken out by a vaccine. I don't want to be taken out by everything. Honestly, the whole situation scares me. I hate it. But anyway, enough about that. But I'm feeling better today. It's like, here's my baseline. I'm like a little bit above it. So I actually have some room to move, which is cool. I'm not totally mentally distraught. It's calmed down. Anxiety is still there. I can feel it in my gut, kind of shooting a little bit, but it's not as strong as it was that other week. It's been good for about 4 days now. I mean, nowhere good at all, but compared to what it was, it's better. It's not controlling me now. I'm hoping that it remains that way. It could have all been like that because of the tetanus shot, but I don't know. But I still have pretty bad anxiety, and I can pretty much make it a lot worse if I dwell on it. So right now, it's not as horrible. The better I feel, the better the anxiety is. That's just the way it is. When I go into a pretty horrible wave, I get really scared every single time because the symptoms are completely weird every time. And then the anxiety just spikes, goes crazy. But yeah, that was my day. Got super dizzy today. When I went out for work, I wasn't feeling great, but tolerable. It was just one of those things, and I've dealt with this a million times before, but I always hope that it goes away. It was one of the bad days. Bad days for dizziness. I'd get really tired, and then the dizziness comes on, and I start feeling like I'm going out of control. The anxiety starts to spike, and the dizziness, it just gets out of control sometimes, depending on how long I'm standing. So I was standing for about an hour and a half, a little longer, probably like an hour and 45 minutes. And when I stand, my heart rate's pretty high. So yeah, it depends how I'm feeling, If I'm feeling better, I realistically have to be productive, or I get way behind. So I'm starting to weigh it a little more. Like when I'm really down, I'm trying not to be paranoid about my work and try to remember that I'm gonna feel a little better at some point, and I'll get it done then. I still work and do stuff anyway, but more at home. So I try to always be productive and do that. But yeah, thanks for saying. I definitely try my best. I wish I didn't have to go to the urgent care, which I'm sure they'll charge it as an emergency visit, which is stupid, but they will. Not that I'm paying for it, but that hospital loves to do that. Yeah. Not much else is going on. Usually, if I'm having a bad day, my videos can be longer because I've got so much bitching to do. But when I feel a little bit better, I don't have money complaints. Weather's really nice out. I'm always hoping for more rain. I love when it rains. Most people don't, but I do. Um, doesn't look like it's going to rain anytime in the 7 day. But the weather outside, it's sunny and like around 80. The weather's really nice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I kind of always had to do it, and it was hard. Um, I just always had lists of things I needed to do to get by, and the other things could always wait. If I couldn't go grocery shopping, I'd have my girlfriend do it. But I always tried to get myself to go so I can get out of my head too. Um, even when my LSD feeling was really high, I still did it. It was fucking terrible. Still hard, but nowhere near like that. Um, I wish I didn't though. I kind of overdid it for a long time at the beginning, thinking that it would help, but it didn't help. It might have helped. I don't know, but hell, I'm still here, so whatever. Paying bills. It's like, luckily half of them were online, so it's easy couple steps. I would, doing like checks, making checks out. Didn't like that. I still find it really irritating to do that kind of stuff. I pay rent with a check, which is fine because I don't want to pay them online. Um, but I was paying off debt while in benzo withdrawal, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done too, is to make enough money to pay off debt. Because I always said, once I'm through it, I'll be thankful. Well, I'm out of debt now, credit card debt. I'm out of debt. It took me 4.5 years, so I did it all while I was in benzo withdrawal, paid it all off, and if I can go back, I would have never done that. I would have just filed bankruptcy or something, just blown it off. But now my credit's good, so it's not in the excellent, but it's in the good section. It was in the excellent until I paid off all the debt, and then all of a sudden it dropped. But I'm working on it. But that was a huge bill that was rough. It was a rough bill to pay. I realistically have no idea how I did a lot of the things I did. I literally forced everything, and it was suffering to a point that I shouldn't have had to do. And realistically, I put a lot on myself that I shouldn't have. All thinking that things would get better sooner than later. If I knew this was going to take years and years and years and years, I would have set myself up way better. I wouldn't have done all the debt paying and stuff like that. I said, fuck it. I mean, now I'm glad I did, but in reality, and I'm sure down the line I'll be thinking back to right now saying I shouldn't be doing this or that and all that, but I like to just try to be as normal as I possibly can, to where it's almost a flaw because a lot of people don't even think I'm that sick. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Doing okay today. Nowhere near great, but Yeah, DPDR, it was funny because for me, I'm 44 years old now. I started having DPDR when I was about 20 years old. Don't know why. Maybe because of smoking weed or something. I have no idea. But I started having DPDR, but it wasn't so thick that it controlled me. But as years went on, it got worse and worse. After the whole benzo incident, um, it got like 30% worse. I stopped smoking weed after benzos fucked me up, which sucked. But that's kind of like the one thing that kept my depression under wraps and kept a lot of like weird problems under wraps. But I ended up with so many mental symptoms from being off the benzos that I couldn't do anything. And still to this day, I won't smoke weed or anything like that because I want my goal is to be as clear as possible so I can live my life and be happy. You know, if I ever smoke weed again, it's going to be like a long time after I feel good. You know, and it depends how if my DPDR actually gets better. I don't think it'll actually ever go away because I've had it for so long. But DPDR, if you've never had it and you instantaneously get it, it's absolutely terrifying. But luckily, I kind of knew what it was about, so it wasn't a huge shock for me. I was just really upset because it got a lot worse, and I always say I can't afford to get worse, and then things get worse. It happens all the time for me. I'm not a you know conspiracy theory person very much, I wish you were the real Zach Wild. Although you are a real Zach Wild, but you can give me guitar lessons. Yeah, the symptoms after benzos and shit are absolutely out of control. But no, I haven't checked into that. I'm always leery, but I'll look into it. Yeah, I'll look. I'll check them out. Never heard of it, so it's always fun to do research on new stuff. But yeah, back DPDR. Yeah, it's one of the worst parts of. Honestly, I'd rather have major physical ailments and have like if you could trade symptoms, I would trade off DPDR for almost any symptom. And I don't I don't think people understand when your mental symptoms are high, and mine are not as bad as they were, but they are. Um, it's pretty much way worse than anything you could deal with, just because your reality is skewing, and if you're going out of reality to a point, that's not a way you can live at all. To me, like if I have a lot of pain, akathisia, and this or that, and I still have my mental, I can get a lot more accomplished. Yeah, some people when you first get off benzos, or if you're ripped off benzos or something, yeah, it feels like all the diseases put together. It's absolutely insane, and it boggles my mind that doctors will just take you off and act like it's no big deal. So I'm sorry you had to go through that. I still wake up shaking every day. Not that that's a comparison, but just saying. I still wake up every day shaking and my brain vibrating and shit like that. This morning it didn't. Probably that, for some reason I'm in this like partial window. So like for some reason I didn't do it. Who knows? But yeah, sorry you have to deal with that. It's absolutely terrifying. People just don't get how fucked up it is. And then doctors will, I mean, really, for me, doctors never give me a proper diagnosis of anything. Even when I tell them what happens, unless they can get a test that proves it, they'll never give me diagnosis. The only thing I've ever had, and within the last 5 years, was fibromyalgia. And obviously, that's because they couldn't figure it out. Which I'm sure I do, because I always had a lot of pain and weird shit like that. So no doubt I had it. But after benzos made it 100 times worse. What, anxiety and depression and shit, basic bullshit. I had brain shocks for like 6 months after I got ripped off benzos. Felt like, I still get electricity that rolls through my body. I have it right now. But that was mostly gone until I screwed up the Remeron taper about 4 months ago. When I tapered a little too fast, I set myself back a good few years, I'd say. Today, I don't feel it like that, but in general, I set myself back pretty good. But the electrical current's not strong today, but it's always there. So I'm looking forward to that going away. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know a lot of people with MS, and they were going. I tried to go for that diagnosis. Not that I want it, MS, but when I was really, really sick, I was just hoping that they just found MS just so they could try to treat it at all. Because I was so sick, it was terrifying. And then at least I can get a diagnosis and probably get disability. But the fact I could never get disability was fucking horrible. I should still have disability now, but there's no way. But I'm sorry. Just sorry. Just sucks. Try to put you on different drugs. And honestly, you can get away with a lot of medication, but benzos can really turn on you. They don't get it. They just don't get it. I try to tell people and warn people, but honestly, I rarely do anymore because I think I've gotten through to one person in 5 years. Yeah, and you learn to live with it, and your brain tends to try to adapt to new symptoms and stuff like that if they stick around. So then all of a sudden they're not as bad as they were when they first popped in. It sucks, man. It just sucks. Wish there was a better word than it sucks, but it fucking sucks. It's funny, when I was at the urgent care, they asked me like little things like, "Do you have numbness in your feet?" Because when I was thinking I had a blood clot or something, I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I don't think it's from that." I'm like, "I have that 24/7," and they just look at me like I'm a little crazy. I'm like, "Well," I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, doctors don't care that I have neuropathy in my feet and hands. They don't care. They've tested for it. Nothing came back. So since nothing came back, they don't care. I just have to deal with it." That's fucked up. Just because they can't prove it with a test, they act like what you have doesn't exist. That's fucked up. Yeah, yeah. I used to talk to him back in the day, um, when I first started joining groups and stuff. He was in groups and whatnot. Um, yeah, he was a short term user like me. And now he's doing a lot better. And I assume once I ever get off the fucking Remeron fully, then things will get better from there. I just have to suffer through the rest of this taper, which I haven't started tapering again until these waves aren't so intense. Sadly, I still have medical issues. No matter how far I come, I will never feel good. But I want to feel like part of the planet. You know, easy. Yeah. Gabapentin's a brutal drug. I've taken it a couple times, and it's good if you only take it once. But I won't fall into that trap. Not if I don't have to. I almost did, but luckily so far I haven't. I really don't want to take more drugs to get off the drug that I'm on. Then it's going to be a never ending cycle and I'll never escape it. So it's like I keep saying, well, I guess I'll just suffer now, other than suffering a little more minimally for longer. That just sucks. Yeah, nobody ever wishes they did. I wish I never got on the Remeron. I mean, my doctor could have just gave me like hydroxyzine or something stupid, but no, he put me on Remeron, which has been my absolute hell. So I hear you. I'm right there with you. I've been tapering the Remeron for 4 years. So yeah, sucks. Then they try to fuck with your script and all this shit, and I try to get a backlog of Remeron just in case it cut me off, so I could at least do some sort of taper. But then the Remeron gets really old sitting in there. It's just I hate thinking about medications. Can't wait to one day not have to taper shit and cut pills and all that bullshit. And realistically, all he had to do is give me hydroxyzine and say, you can only take it for 2 weeks. And that would have probably been okay. Oh well. After I fucked up the Remeron, I didn't sleep for so long. And I got hydroxyzine and I took it for about 2 weeks. And I didn't even take a full dose. I started cutting it down little by little after a week. And I still had withdrawals from it. I could feel it. But then my sleep started coming back. And I still have days where I'm really fucked up and my sleep is very fucked up. Where I don't sleep for a few days and then I can't fall asleep because my symptoms will rise or like I'll get a shock in my brain or something like that. It was just happening actually the last like 4 days. It's just last night actually was a better night's sleep. Yeah. Tazopine's like made me a zombie. But now I'm on a low dose of it, but it's got me hard and it's tough. My throat's hurting. think I'm gonna go cut out of here. Probably come back on tomorrow. It's been nice chatting. I do wish you guys the best as always. It's never fun, especially if you're dealing with medical things on top of the withdrawal. Oy. Well, you guys take care. I'm going to head off. Later on, guys.